Greetings! In this video, we're going to reveal how McKinsey dominates the consulting industry with its global reach and diverse expertise. We're going to go over how McKinsey can use the one source of truth concept to transform their internal operations, why large language models are McKinsey's secret weapon for the future, why these innovations will propel McKinsey to become the first trillion-dollar consultancy firm, how this transformation benefits both employees and clients of McKinsey, and finally, what this means for the future of consulting and how other firms can adapt to these changes. By the end of this video, you're not only going to understand how McKinsey operates, but why they're the cream of the crop when it comes to consulting. But that's not all. We're going to show you how they could become 10 times better. Yes, you've heard that correct. How McKinsey could become 10 times better. But why should you care? If you can understand how the top player operates and how they could improve, imagine what you can do for smaller clients. It's like getting a masterclass in consulting excellence and future-proofing all in one video. But how exactly are we going to do this? We're taking you on a journey. First, we'll peek behind the curtains to understand the current McKinsey modus operandi. We're talking about their secret sauce, their challenges, and the whole 9 yards. Then, we're shifting gears into the future. We will lay out the exact roadmap McKinsey can follow to become the first trillion-dollar consulting powerhouse. We're going to be talking about cutting-edge tech, streamlined processes, and a whole lot more. And this won't be just made-up stuff. These are going to be strategies that any business can implement today. Before we understand how McKinsey could improve their current business operations, we need to understand where they are at this moment. And the best way to begin is by understanding why do clients come to McKinsey. Clients engage with McKinsey to solve their most complex business challenges and drive change within their business. They seek McKinsey's strategic guidance, objective perspective, and deep expertise to gain a competitive edge within their market. In sum, McKinsey helps their clients with knowledge, expertise, network, data and analytics, and implementation support on the whole process. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, might approach McKinsey to assist in a $10 billion acquisition of a leading AI startup in India. McKinsey would be brought in to conduct comprehensive market analysis, perform detailed financial modeling, assess cultural fit, and develop a robust post-merger plan to ensure that Apple can quickly leverage its new products within the existing ecosystem. The reason McKinsey can do this and why they can operate in various different markets and countries is because of the way they are currently structured. Meaning, they have consultants that are experts in every field and they have offices in more than 65 countries. Meaning, if a real estate company approaches McKinsey seeking strategic guidance, McKinsey can go analyze the past and vast amounts of data that they have in order to further guide and assist this current client. This is why the more clients they serve, the better they will serve future clients. Because they are able to, in real time, see what is working and see what worked in the past in order to predict what is going to work in this new case. The best way to predict the future is by analyzing the past, and this is what McKinsey is able to do. This is their secret sauce, let's say. When it comes to their client engagement model, McKinsey is very strong for two particular reasons. One, their problem-solving approach, and two, the fact that they create collaborative client relationships. Let's focus on the first one for now, the problem-solving approach. McKinsey takes a very simple approach to how they conduct business. There's a problem, meaning a company doesn't know how to go about a mergers and acquisitions processes. Let's create hypotheses for how to fix this problem, so hypotheses for the solution. Then let's create hypotheses for how we can solve this current problem. After they've created the hypothesis on how they're going to solve X problem, it's a matter of seeing risk to reward, meaning what is the hypothesis that we can test right away with little to no resources that might generate us the most amounts of reward, and then it's a matter of testing them. Because as you know, if you're in consulting or if you do business, firstly, there are multiple ways to solve one problem. Secondly, the approach that seems the most likely to work not always results in being the final solution. So it's important to create multiple hypotheses to how you can fix a problem and then testing them to see which is the correct hypothesis. Meaning, if a company wants to expand to a new vertical of the market, there are 3-4 different paths that they can go about expanding. They can acquire a company, they can start from scratch, they can partner up with an existing client in that market, and all of this needs to be strategically thought of. And out of this, which one is the most viable and doable based on the resources that we have and what we are trying to achieve. Now, let's focus on collaborative client relationships. For any given project at any given time, there's at least 4 individual consultants working for one specific project. Now, in more complex projects, there might be 1 or 2 senior partners giving guidance to these junior consultants in order for them to be able to perform to their best. But at any given time, a client can know, okay, there are at least 3-4 different people with different personalities and different ways of looking at a problem that are working on my specific use case. From a client's perspective, that gives you rest because you know you have a higher probability of fixing the problem that you approached McKinsey with. Now, one of the main reasons McKinsey is the global success that they currently are is because of the talent that they recruited and developed internally. This is the fact in today's business world. You cannot grow a company without growing the quality of the talent that you are currently employing. Yes, there's a big prestige around McKinsey, and all the top graduates coming out of school, they all want to join McKinsey. But if this talent is not developed internally, they will become just that, talent, instead of valuable individuals that can contribute to the marketplace, therefore increasing both the success of McKinsey and the clients that work with McKinsey. Although their success is undeniable, no company is perfect. There are always improvements that can be made. Here are the 3 areas we identified that McKinsey could improve in order to become the first trillion-dollar consulting firm. We see a lot of improvement in being able to take the data that is being generated for one specific client at one specific time and having another team working on a complete separate project being able to access that data that is being generated in real time. This will make it so that at any given point in time, no 2 teams will be working on gathering the same information and data, yet that data can be shared from one place to another. Then, and we will talk in more detail about this in the next section of the video, there's room for integrating AI models, so large language models, in processing and synthesizing the large amounts of data that are being collected within all departments of the company. When it comes to cross-departmental collaboration, we see a couple of ways that McKinsey can improve the current state of operations. Firstly, in niching down the tasks that their employees are working on. So instead of having one person that on a certain project will work on the presentations, on another project will work on gathering data, on another project will work on presenting data, we see that it would be more valuable to have them assembled like in a factory, where one person only works on gathering the data, another individual only works on structuring presentations, and the third one only works on presenting that presentation. This will make it so that over time, each one of these individuals will become a true expert on what they are doing. We don't want generalists, we want specialists. We want to make it so that each one of these individuals is becoming a true expert and the best of the best at what they do. Instead of one of these individuals being a 3 out of 10 on gathering information, a 6 out of 10 on structuring that information, and a 3 out of 10 on giving a presentation, we want to assemble in each of these steps a 9 or 10 out of 10 individual for that specific task. That's when the quality of the service that McKinsey provides to their clients will go through the roof. And finally, when it comes to process efficiency, there are a couple of problems that we outlined. Firstly, the time-intensive process of report generation and proposal creation. This can all be systemized and automated if we can reverse engineer how the end product needs to look like and all the little steps that it takes to go from an idea to an end product. And at the end, we would have a large language model that would look at everything that was written and it would format it according to the instructions that it was taught. Next, the information overload for consultants. When kicking off a project, consultants are asked to read a 40 to 60 page PDF outlining all the small little details about the project. This task is mostly done on the weekend, when they should be spending time with their family and recollecting their energies for the week ahead. We see more optimal ways of going about this process. You don't need to skim through 40 pages of a PDF to understand the 3 to 5 key insights that are needed in order to kick off a project. And from it, give you the key insights and questions that you need to know in order to be able to kick off the project. Now, let's put theory into practice. Each of these pillars that we outlined that McKinsey could improve, we will now go into detail on how they could improve it. Because one thing is theory, now how do we put that into practice? This is going to be the next part. So, I don't know if you noticed, but we dropped our mic in the last scene. That's why you are now seeing a different setup. So different shirt, a different mic, a better mic. But we had to come back and finish this video for you. You clicked on this video expecting value, so we gotta terminate it. So let's continue. In this next session, we're gonna be covering exactly how McKinsey could improve their current business operations. And to do this, we're going to be focusing on a couple of key areas. One, how to centralize their knowledge base, so there's just one place that has all the data and knowledge that is being gained across projects. Secondly, how to centralize and streamline ways of communicating, meaning how can a team working on X project know about the progress and new discoveries that was done on Y project. And thirdly, how to make everyone in the company aware of the progress that is being done. Meaning, how can we share quick wins? How can we share when a project is completed? How can we share when the company signs a very big client? We want to make sure that all these three, so knowledge, communication, and up-to-date communication, is all centralized and that everyone from a junior consultant to the top guy, the managing director, can all have access to the same information. When it comes to knowledge, you want to set up two things. One source of truth database that can hold all the knowledge, all the SOPs, and all the project briefs of the current operations that are going on. And then an automation that can communicate with this data. Meaning, let's say a consultant is working with a bank on a certain project, and he figures out a new way to insert data into a current McKinsey system. You want to build your system and knowledge bases in a way that when this consultant adds this manual or SOP to this one source of truth knowledge base, everyone in the company will get a Slack message being like, "Hey, real quick, if you struggle with any of the problems that we mentioned in this video and you want to see how these systems would look like in your business, then go to revampify.eu and apply to become a partner of us." Okay, back to the video. Consultant John, working on X project, figured out a new and better way to insert data into this system. If any of you have been having problems with inserting data into this system, here's the SOP going over how to do this more effectively and in a better way. You want to think about, in a company that has 50,000 employees, what would happen to your internal operations if you could create this shared knowledge system? Meaning, you know that if someone discovers a better way to use ChatGPT in order to write reports, that can instantly be shared across the whole company in a natural and predictable way. We have a lot of other improvements that I can suggest, but only looking at the trenches and analyzing what the consultants do on a daily basis, what the assistants, the managing partners, what daily tasks are repetitive that they do manually, would I be able to give a clear overview and analysis and pinpoint what could be built. But here are a couple ideas off the top of my mind and from the companies I analyzed. Of course, not as big as McKinsey because they are the biggest consultancy firm, but here are some of the most common problems that I see in companies nowadays and how they could be fixed. One of the most common situations that we see on a daily basis with companies of all sizes and in all markets is the amount of manual data entry that they have. This can be fixed in a couple of different ways depending on the type of data that you are gathering. For example, when it comes to a sales process, you might want to look at a couple of different metrics. How many leads were contacted, how many calls were booked, how many calls showed up, how many of those ended up being a client, and how much did they pay for. You could create an automation that once a week it would look at the number of leads that were contacted and input this in the correct field in your database. This would be automatically. For the calls booked and the calls taken, this is a little bit more complex in order to automate. Yes, you can invite an AI to listen into your calls and decide at the end of the call if they ended up closing or not, but this won't work 100% of the time. So what I recommend is creating a manual process, but even though it's manual, you still need to create the process to make sure that people do it, which is salesman, every time they have a sales call, they have to go fill in a quick form saying, this was the call taken, this was the ID of the call, and this is the result of the call. Meaning we booked a second call, or we closed, or the client was not qualified. What you would do after this is create a path for the data that is filled in the form to go again into the correct place in your database, so you know that you only have to make sure your salesmen are filling in the form. After it, data will be transported to the correct place every single time the form is filled. Another common error that we are seeing in the market right now, and this happens majorly the bigger the company is that the delivery team is not up to date to all of the projects that are needed to be delivered and the little steps in between. Meaning, yes, they know they are working on project X, Y, and Z, but then they know that the whole company is working on other projects and they are not fully aware as to what is happening, the stage of the project, and what is being delivered. This is a problem because there might be key insights in a project on the other end that they are not working on that they could help fix because they have the knowledge for it. With it, what we want to do is to create a Kanban view, which is you have all of the projects here, imagine 5 different projects, meaning anyone in the company can go look at this one source of truth database and see, okay, these are all the projects that are being delivered right now. These are the stages they are at, this is the tasks that are being done, and for example, for projects that are on hold, you can see exactly the reason why it's on hold. And someone on your team might be able to fix it without being involved in the project. Another thing you can do if you build this system is create automations that every time a task or a project, depending on the updates that you want to give, is updated, your team will get a notification about it. Meaning, if you remember before, the quick wins section for McKinsey, let's say a project status is changed from in progress to completed. You would want to notify your team of it. Therefore, you would create an automation that every time a record matches a condition which is complete, you would send a Slack message or Teams, depending on the communication system that you use, being like, Project X was just completed. Congratulate the team involved. And then person A, person B, person C. This will help, especially if you understand human psychology, which is most people are not motivated only by money. Most employees also need recognition, and you showcasing in front of your whole team or on a team meeting that yes, this project was completed and it was done by these members, it will increase team morale and overall create a way better company culture. And that is it for today's video. We have gone over what has made McKinsey the top leading consulting firm. We have also covered how they could become even better, because remember, no company is perfect. And now, if you want to see how to apply this for your own business, I've made this video going over the 8 steps you need to take in order to systemize your business from A to Z. Without further ado, I'll see you in the next one.